A CCO is just like all other managers in companies, is just a manager. We now have people in these type of roles who are formally the representative of a company, just like a CMO and a logistic manager, etc., etc. It is totally unacceptable that many people in communications functions are only speaking one language. We have to accept that we can't control everything as an organization. It's impossible. So leave freedom to people, persuade people, and actually try to provide arguments which people will use themselves to come to decision making. That's the new strategy that companies have to perform. What do the studies of the RTPH Society reveal? Three important things. It's no more dual relationship. It's a network relationship. You have to not only position the organization, you have to define the corporation from an authenticity point of view. Lying does not work at all. If you have a claim to fame, you have to substantiate that with evidence. What determines success of a CCO department is driven by 6 factors. First of all, it's about having clarity in starting points. You have to know what your core purpose is as an organization. Secondly, you have to have a very effective global communication organization. You have to create stakeholder alignment, both internally and externally. You have to create, of course, a positive reputation, build a strong brand, and an effective implementation, so really impactful type of communication. This is the ideal that, of course, communication people would like to see most. This is a strategically focused CCO which has a focus on offensive type of approach in the market. What should an ideal CCO do? You have to be an integrator. You really have to work in line with the C-suites, so the corporates, the top of the organization and the rest of the organization. You have to be a system designer. That is not only in marketing and communications, but broader. You really have to be very familiar with metrics. You really have to work, you have to know figures, numbers. You have to be a publisher, a developer. You have to know the behavioral sciences, and you have to be what they call the curator, the protector of the corporate personality, to transform that into an authentic type of organization. If you accept that the CCO is no longer the old journalist that has to be the, let's say, the powerful guy behind the scenes that create a celebrity CEO that will create a powerful reputation for the organization, if there's an other tendency necessary for organizations that creates actually CCOs, or should create CCOs, that accept the notion of we can't control it all, we have to seduce instead of to persuade, then you have to accept that organizations are crucial for the CCO and not the CEO. If organizations are crucial, you have to involve in the so-called dominant coalition instead of the CEO as a one-star CCO, the celebrity. That implies that you have to understand, you don't have to do anything, but I have to explain what dominant logic and dominant coalition actually is. What is dominant logic? Dominant logic, simply said, is the logical argumentation, the rules of the game, applied by a group of people, we call them the dominant coalition, who are in command. Not only because they have stars and stripes, but also because they are seen as the senior people. Dominant logic is no more and no less than a protocol, a set of protocols that simplify for people daily decision making. You have the CCO that has to make a choice. Do I serve mainly the man at the top, or the woman at the top, or do I do the broader dominant coalition? It is clear to me that if you don't serve primarily the dominant coalition, without forgetting, of course, to serve the CEO, you will get lost. And not only you, but the organizations will get lost. CCOs don't have an easy job. They don't have an easy job because just like CCOs, they only have their first 100 days. After that they are killed or they are heroes. They have to learn fast. That's why they have to have the right training before they start with such a job. They have to sense the critical political situations in an organization. They have to be very careful about what they say and what they don't say. What defines CCO success? There is a dominant coalition position internally, that's clear. You have to be part of that dominant logic. You have to be you have to be taken seriously. They have to consult you. They have to listen to your advices. And last but not least, you have to have specific responsibilities, of course. That's the internal dominant coalition position. There's also an external dominant coalition position. You have to be part of that group too. And there again, you have to listen very carefully. You have to communicate in a sense that people accept you. You have to have specific skills, I already told you. The art of communication, the science of communication, the art and the science of management. We came purely based on the numbers to 4 characteristics. 2 internal, you have to create a top-of-mind awareness among these top people, internal coalition, external coalition. They have to know your organization and they have to know you. Internally, it's about creating alignments among your employees, that they will support the strategy, and the other internal thing is that the CEO will be served well. Externally, you have to create awareness, and last but not least, and that's obvious to me, that's the word impact. You have to create impact with your communication. We have a measure now for CCO success. You have a number that you can compare yourself and your own organization with other ones. That is a benchmark that you can create in that way, and that creates the beginning or the maturity of the more mature creation of a profession. And that is important not only for the people here in Spain, but I think that is really a conclusion that is vitally important for the people in many other countries that are struggling with exactly the same problem.